This is the Test 4 rundown of the Lindsay X-Lite Guardrail End Terminal. My first point of concern is, why is this Test 4? Was there a Test 1, 2, or 3? There's a discrepancy in the test vehicle, and a test occurs at a point in time, but Lindsay's documents, obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request, shows this test was run on 2 days, a week apart. This would certainly appear to indicate the existence of a possibility, at least, of an unreported test. Testing is designed to prove a device crashworthy. This test, it appears to have been designed to pass the test. Lindsay reported and ran this test with standard splice bolts rather than the integral shear bolts. The spacer was removed at post 2, and bolt holes were added in place of the open slots at post 1 and 3. The purpose of this test was not to test an article that cosmetically looks like an X-Lite. Lindsay reporting this misconduct doesn't change the fact that it was highly deceptive. Lindsay simply credentialed the X-Lite with this test. They didn't prove it safe or crashworthy. Nobody should ever play this kind of dangerous game with a safety product. This is highly irresponsible. Beyond the reported changes, though, you would expect at least that this would be an exemplar X-Lite installation. Even more when you consider that the Lindsay Corporation installed and conducted their own crash testing. But there are other unreported deviations in this test article. I'm most concerned about changes that can alter the performance of the test. At post 1, the 2-inch square washer was not installed. And this is very, very serious. The flared X-Lite slider assembly is mounted at the trailing end of post 3. As reported, there was a bolt hole at this location, but unreported, the bolt at post 3 was moved to the leading edge of the post. 2 washers were added that were not approved, and it was tightened to the point the edge of the wood blockout splintered. This is an egregious act of misconduct that can only be described as apparent fraud. The test involves crashing a truck weighing over 4,400 pounds into the X-Lite at 20 degrees at post 3, going 62.2 miles per hour. This massive change fundamentally altered the performance of this test. There are 3 redirected crash tests: 334, 35, and 39. Based on the 4 applications of the X-Lite, there were 12 potential tests. Test 4 is the only redirective test an X-Lite end terminal ever received. Lindsay waived the other 11. The actual X-Lite, approved by FHWA, did not receive a single legitimate redirective test. And its unique anchorage system and those yellow shear bolts were never crash tested in a redirective test. Lindsay deceived FHWA with the reported changes, and they flat out lied about the unreported changes. We can't see below the ground at the installations of posts 2 or 3 and what's under the slider panel. In light of this deception, that's very concerning. How can we trust Lindsay with the health, safety, and well-being of the traveling public? Would you trust the X-Lite to protect your child?